Good morning, eh?
Good morning out there. Well, as Brian just alluded to, we're going to talk about what culminated in Canada, our neighbors to the north, last weekend. Stay tuned. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. I feel like we should start off with a little bit of Rush. Maybe,
A little bit of Rush?
yeah, a little Rush music, except for they demonetize us, you know.
Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber,
Can't forget Tom.
Tom McDonald. There we go. In fact, let's do that. We'll intro in with some Tom. How's that?
And Matt Brevner.
Matt Brevner. Yeah, we found out a lot of our Canadian viewers, so this episode is for you. We're glad to see your countrymen standing up for freedom. It's
We are
awesome.
fellow Canucks.
This episode is going to be about that great truck rally that turned into basically just a giant parade across the country of Canada
that's awesome.
from west to east.
Awesome.
And showed up at the doorway of your fearless leader,
Yes.
who happened to have a sick day that day.
Yes.
You know what Canadians are good at?
Hockey.
They're good at hockey. Although I don't know when the last time they won the Stanley Cup. You guys will have to tell us. Sorry about that, Canada. But we know one thing about Canada. Because it's cold there a lot of the time, they are always prepared. Are you prepared?
Like Brian says, are you prepared? Do you have enough food, water, and other essentials to get you through tough times? If not, check out My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's #1 preparedness company, and they've served millions of American families just like yours. Right now, you can save 25% off their popular 4-week emergency food kit, which will keep you well fed for 4 weeks worth of breakfast, lunch, dinner, drinks, and snacks, totaling over 2,000 calories a day. This food stays fresh for up to 25 years in proper storage, so it will be there when you need it. In fact, you may need it a lot sooner than that.
So don't wait. Go to www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. That's www.preparewithcedricandbrian.com. Well, there's somebody that I want you, that if you're not Canadian, I want you to follow this guy, and I'm going to put it right here. It's Kean Bext. I don't know if I'm saying that right. There's Canadians, sometimes they pronounce their names funny.
Well, we pronounce our names funny.
Keean space Bexte. He's a blue check on Twitter, which means that's a good thing, I guess.
Yes.
Not always a good thing. But he's got a good Twitter feed going, and he's supporting these truckers. I'm going to play one of the when he arrived in, it's Ottawa, right?
Yes.
So they went all the way from Vancouver to Ottawa.
Vancouver to Ottawa, yeah.
Correct us if we're wrong. Again, we're just dumb Americans.
You hoser.
Yeah. We're going to watch this and check out all these white supremacists.
Kean Bexte here with the counter signal in Ottawa, Ontario. We're here today after days and days of driving across the country, and we're here for a very specific reason. We're here to share the story that the mainstream media is not going to share. We're here to speak with these lovely people who have come from across the country to stand up and speak up for what is right. They're here, and agenda item #1, priority #1 is freedom. The mainstream media is also here, but no one really cares about them because they've been lying about this convoy since the beginning. First it was about icy roads, and then it was about white nationalism and Nazism. They were lying the whole time, and Canadians knew it. They called their bluff and showed up here in the thousands. Absolutely massive numbers here today, more than the convoy of 2019. This convoy is uniting all Canadians. Canadians are here to stand up, to say their piece, and be heard. The unfortunate part is the loser that occupies this building right behind me is taking a few sick days despite not being sick. Justin Trudeau tested negative for COVID-19 but is still in hiding. Actually, today his official itinerary was released, and Justin Trudeau says that instead of meeting with these wonderful people here today, he's meeting with the Islamic lobby of Quebec. He's got his priorities. These Canadians have their own priorities. Their priority here today is freedom. We're going to go speak to as many as we can and share this story as loud as possible because the mainstream media won't, as I've been saying throughout this whole convoy. Please go to convoycoverage.com to see what we've been reporting, to see the other story that the mainstream media isn't sharing. the story that the mainstream media and Justin Trudeau just don't want you to hear. Let's go chat with some folks. Thank you, Ian.
So those of you, obviously that was when he got there on Saturday, and it's now Thursday. The problem is I talked to some people in my office, and I said, did you hear about that huge truck convoy going on in Canada? No. Nobody's heard of it because none of the mainstream media will put it on the air.
Well, they are talking about it, but there's a lot of similarities between what's going on here in the United States and what's going on with our brothers and sisters up north in Canada. For one, you guys seem to have a leader that runs and hides in the basement when things get rough too, just like we have over here. That's one thing. And two is the way that the media spins things. It's like we have a bunch of truckers, and if I remember correctly, I think it's the CTA, Canadian Trucking Alliance. They all got together and they organized this peaceful protest. Stop me if this sounds familiar, where the truckers have said, we're just sick and tired of having our livelihood taken from us. And so like Brian alluded to earlier, they'd start a convoy from Vancouver to Ottawa just to have a peaceful discussion with their leader and say, how can we change this? 84% of us have been vaccinated. And even those of us who have been vaccinated, we're catching COVID anyway. But now you're telling us that we can't earn our livelihood.
Well, yeah. So what's nice is that the ones that did get the vaccine are supporting the ones that chose not
Absolutely.
to. And now the ones who got vaccinated are probably like, why did we even do it? We're catching it. We're spreading it. It doesn't really matter. Is there a job you can think of where you're more isolated than a trucker? So you're in the truck by yourself. They were making truckers wear masks in their truck by themselves. That was number one. Hey, it's like, okay, maybe we'll put up with that. Then they weren't allowing them to cross into what we would call states here, I guess it's provinces there, without vaccine mandate cards or vaccine cards. And the truckers just finally said, whether they were vaccinated or not, we've had enough. The media there was calling it an insurrection. Where did we hear that before? They're calling it, these are white supremacists. You see the Native Canadians out there protesting with all of the white people and the blacks and the Asians. And I know the Americans that watch this, you know that when they call everybody a white supremacist, they called Larry Elder, and Cedric brought this up, the black face of white supremacy. They'll just call anything white supremacy if it doesn't fit their narrative.
Well, what that really means is when they call you a white supremacist, it means that you don't agree with their ideas.
Right.
It's just their ideas.
And so these are, just like we had here, they're freedom marches, freedom protests. They're calling this, basically a freedom campaign across the country with these truckers. Truckers for Freedom, I think, is one of the flags. And you saw a lot of American flags there. There was a case where a person came and grabbed an American flag out of a child, I think it was a young child's hands, took it away from her and said, "Get out of my city, you unvaxxed scum." I mean, this is what places like Canada and what they're trying to do here is they're trying to pit us against each other like you're an other. And we've been talking about that for years. So Canada, it was so good to see Canada do this and succeed in it because Canada was going the way of Australia where it was just getting nutty.
I love what Canada's doing because if you live in Canada, it has a very similar vibe to the whole Juicy Smollett story in Chicago. In order to feel passionate about something, to get out there in that weather and protest, you have to be passionate because it is cold there.
Yeah.
And to get out there and do this, it is awesome.
Yep.
There's another gentleman out there, BJ Dichter. He started a GoFundMe page. And if I get the numbers wrong, I apologize. I think they raised like $6,000 to support the truckers. And of course, like it's done over here, that GoFundMe page or that GoFundMe fund was stripped away and stopped and you couldn't deliver to it anymore. Yeah. They're just doing everything possible to stop this thing. And their media over there, they're calling them fascists.
Fascists, yeah.
Yeah. It's like you guys are just getting together, you're bundling up, and it's just a right-wing propaganda troop that's going out there to do damage.
Yeah, and they don't have all the choices there. I mean, they have Rebel News and things like that. But they're basically, their news is run by, I think it's the Canadian Television Authority or something. I can't remember what it's called. I think somebody was holding a flag back here, a sign. And basically it's so much easier for them to just spread propaganda because you get all your news source basically from, a single source. It's kind of like the BBC in England.
Yeah.
Whereas we have, unfortunately here, we think we have choices. We have NBC, CBS, ABC, MSNBC. They're all the same. We do have Fox News, and now we have CTA, Conservative Television of America.
Yes.
But for the mainstream, we basically only have Fox News that's not the same as everybody else. And so people think they're turning on the news here, and I'm not watching MSNBC. I just watch the regular NBC News. It's all the same talking points. Well, they don't even have as many choices. They get everything funneled from one. But as we find out, it's so bad here that when I asked people and they had never heard of it, it just goes to show you that people are still getting their news from the same sources. And those people won't watch Fox because Fox has been badmouthed by the mainstream media, that they think that Fox News is somehow some fascist organization. To see why this has happened, this will give you an idea. For those who haven't seen this, this is Justin Trudeau, who is the Prime Minister of Canada. It's Prime Minister there, right?
Yes.
They don't call it President.
Yes.
So listen to the words he uses here.
We know the way through this pandemic is by getting everyone vaccinated. And the overwhelming majority, close to 90% of Canadians, have done exactly that. The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views that they're expressing do not represent the views of Canadians who have been there for each other, who know that following the science and stepping up to protect each other is the best way to continue to ensure our freedoms, our rights, our values as a country.
Unacceptable views. Can you imagine that in a free society, the leader of your country says that you are holding unacceptable views?
And unacceptable according to who?
Him.
Yeah.
I have attended protests and rallies in the past when I agreed with the goals, when I supported the people expressing their concerns and their issues. Black Lives Matter is an excellent example of that. But I have also chosen to not go anywhere near protests that have expressed hateful rhetoric, violence towards fellow citizens, and a disrespect not just of science, but of the frontline health workers.
I've been following this pandemic from day one, being in the healthcare field. The vaccine does not stop the spread of COVID. And now we know it's not even stopping the disease itself. So why are you mandating something that doesn't stop the disease or the spread? It makes no sense, because the 90%, like you talked about, are spreading the virus to everybody anyway. So what is the difference between the vaccinated and the non-vaccinated? What is the difference? Justin Trudeau, please tell me what the difference is, since they both seem to be spreading it. And now with Omicron, the vaccinated seem to be getting even sicker than the non-vaccinated. Where does this make sense? He's taking away freedoms to protect freedoms.
Right.
And like I just said, I know I beat this drum over and over again, and I sound like a broken record. Everything he said there is false, because, for one, if you follow the science says it doesn't stop the spread. So again, please tell me, and I'm reaching out to our American leaders here too. Please tell me how these mandates do anything in society, anything other than, even if you go back to, which I don't think is true anymore, if you go back to, well, you won't get as sick if you have the vaccine, which with Omicron, it doesn't look like that's even the case. If it doesn't stop the spread, why the mandate? You're not saving anybody from getting it. And again, quit pretending that you're trying to just, save one more life. It's all about power. It's all about control.
Yeah.
It's all about, we talked about a while ago, and I know people, will call you a right-wing lunatic or a conspiracy theorist if you talk about the Great Reset. The Great Reset people are not hiding the ball. They come out and talk about that they want everybody to conform to them, but they're very upset now because people aren't following them.
Well, what's scary is you have some of the truckers who are coming through the truck stops. I heard one gentleman, he was talking to Glenn Beck. I love his show. And he said he was going through the truck stop and he held his phone up with the QR code to let the person know that he had been vaccinated. And the guy said, "No, come on through. We got that a couple hundred yards back. We just scanned it." That's like social credits.
Oh my goodness.
So what else are they going to put on there that they have access to that they can scan from wherever? So that's like social credits in China and things of that nature. The guy I was referring to earlier, BJ Dichter, he said he said they're doing a great job, and this is a well organized convoy from Vancouver to Ottawa. He said they are calling the police station. I guess you can call them police stations in Canada, calling them before and said, "Hey, we are coming through," and they're being very mindful of people. And like here, like we have in California, when we've had flags and we stand over the overpass over highways and people wave flags and they honk their horns and they're clapping and supporting, that's all this is.
Yeah.
And they're not just coming through towns and just running roughshod. They're being very respectful of what's going on in those communities.
But you know what the media is doing already. The same thing they do, like with the January 6th. They'll find one incident, because we're human beings.
Yes.
You're always going to find the knuckleheads in the group to not act as respectful. They'll find that one person out of 10,000 truckers, let's say. If there's 10,000, that's the numbers that I heard. Out of 10,000 truckers, which means you have hundreds of thousands of people probably in the parade route, they'll find one person that does something bad. Look at how this isn't going to age well. Look at how bad these people are. You find one, and nothing else is burning like in our riots of 2020, where they were mostly peaceful and fiery protests. When whole cities were burned to the ground and looted, that's what was happening. There might have been plenty of peaceful protesters with BLM, but as a totality, cities were burned down. This has been peaceful. It's been going on for that whole week before last Saturday, where it ended in Ottawa, where Justin Trudeau wouldn't even meet with these people. And it was peaceful almost 100%.
Right.
You're always going to find those knuckleheads.
Yeah.
Just like you find a couple people in January 6th. Remember, nobody was armed on January 6th, though. And the only person who remember was shot by a police officer. These people are not causing havoc. Maybe they're causing traffic. Oh, no. Because they're having a big
I don't
convoy.
think they're even doing that.
Yeah, probably not, because they're moving.
Yeah. And I don't play the conspiracy theorist role, but just to kind of piggyback on what was just said, there are going to be people, there are going to be plants there, like people from their version of the left, who are going to get in there and say, you know what, let's go into these buildings. Let's throw rocks. Let's throw sticks. If any of our fans, if you our subscribers are in Canada, if you're listening, Tom McDonald, Matt Brevner, Justin Bieber, control that. Do not take the bait. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting for your rights peacefully and orderly. And hopefully, it's a damn shame that Justin Trudeau will not come out of hiding. He's not in any danger. They want to have a cordial conversation with him and say, hey, this is what we want to talk about.
He is, I mean, as bad as we have it here, and you Canadians, you can comment on this. He has got to be one of the worst automatons or just pre-programmed politicians that just comes out and just fits. He has his narrative and he's just going to follow through with it. He looks like the poster boy for the Great Reset. So,
yeah.
And maybe it's just easier in a place like Canada. The population isn't nearly as much as here, even though it's a huge landmass. And remember, Canadians are known for being the really nice people.
Yes.
So you know that it took a lot to piss these people off to the point where they said, no more.
No more.
I mean,
done.
usually Canadians, you think of easygoing. Mm-hmm. You know, it's the rebels that move here, like Tom McDonald, that say, I'm going to move to America and cause some havoc. Maybe we'll pick up on it and they'll have a big convoy here and something a little more organized. Thank goodness that the people of Canada finally stood up and said, enough is enough.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
As a group. I mean, those pastors stood up and they went to jail, but as a group, you need numbers, and it's good to see the numbers.
Yeah, and we joke about this a lot. This is not a riot. It is the pure definition of what a peaceful protest should look like. Yeah. We just want to come and talk to you, and like I said before, it's a shame that Justin Trudeau is hiding. He said, I don't want to have this conversation with you. Yeah,
he's a typical left-wing politician. He doesn't have an answer, so he's not gonna have a debate.
Yeah,
they don't have debates.
I was saying, people who do it correctly, when they're pissed off, they go and they take it to the government. What we do here, we jack up our own cities and burn them down and loot and burn down small businesses, and that's how we're sticking it to them.
Yeah. Hopefully we learn from this convoy. We'll learn a little bit from our neighbors to the north.
Yeah. Speaking of the vaccine, did you want to do a comment?
Yeah.
Comment?
Got to do comments. I know we apologize. We missed a few comments in the past, but we're starting to get back on the comment train. But again, part of that, we want some video comments, and you guys haven't been sending us video comments to Cedric and Brian at gmail.com. Just, we want to see the people who watch our show.
That'd be fun. It'd be fun. Well, if you guys know, and I forget which video it was, and I think we've done it on 2, where I have a religious exemption form that I've devised that I've emailed to some of our subscribers. When you say, hey, I'm in threat of losing my job, can you send me this form? And some people have come back with glowing comments saying, thank you so much. It helped save my job. This is from a lady in Texas by the name of Kelly. And she says, Hello, gentlemen. First, I was thrown off, like, is that us? But yeah, that us. I would like to thank you for your help with the vaccine mandate several months ago. I'm happy to report that my employer accepted and approved my exemption. Thank you so much for everything you do. Sincerely, Kelly from Louisville, Texas. So, Kelly, you are more than welcome. And I know we've sent that to a few people to give us some feedback and let us know that religious exemption helped you. I know we have a lot of friends over here that are battling that as well. So hopefully that's helping them as well.
Still going on. Yeah. But as you saw on February 1st, Denmark got rid of all of their mandates for COVID. So basically in that country, COVID is over. The only place they still have it is they still want you to wear masks in medical facilities.
We're in February.
Yeah, we're in February.
You know what month it is?
Oh, that's right. It's Black History Month.
No, we started Chinese New Year.
Oh, sorry.
Wow. You're just batting 1,000.
Was I being racist by bringing that up? He always has to tell me how it's Black History Month, and of course, it's the shortest month of the year.
28 days. All we get. It's a damn shame.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and share this video with everyone you know, because you know what's happened? People are writing us and telling us that they've been unsubscribed to our channel. So you may have to resubscribe.
All right, you guys. Like Brian said, like, subscribe, ring that bell, share our channel with everyone you know. And
well, I didn't do it good enough.
Yeah, you did. I just like to do it again. And make sure you are keeping the good people in Canada in your thoughts and your prayers, and hope they come out on top of this. Continue being good to each other. And until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. We'll see you later.